director of the Adams Board.
A little over 10 years ago, I had the opportunity to be in charge of the Department of Children and Family Services, and I thought it would be a good idea to meet the providers, the Alliance. And I quickly learned the strength of not only the organization, but of Mario Tonti. And that strength that was demonstrated when I met him really came to test. It came as a test when I got a phone call one day from Mario. And I could tell by his voice, this is the most dreaded phone call he'd ever want to make. He told me that one of our foster children had murdered another child in the next county over. And I then learned the real strength and commitment and passion that he has. We talked a bit, and we decided we'd go see the foster family, which we did. And I saw how he carried himself with such dignity and resolve to really find the right things to say in the most difficult, unusual situations. And as the events turned out, it became a public relations nightmare where a few days later I found myself with Mario in the middle of a high school auditorium with several thousand angry people, of which about 2,500 were turned away. That they wanted answers, and they wanted to hang some bureaucrat social worker out to dry, basically, as I remember. And seeing as Mario and I sitting in the middle of the auditorium, and I thought, I can't be sitting next to anybody better than the person I'm sitting next to. And we've never talked about it since. But it was an extraordinary evening because with his resolve, his not standing away from it and saying, I'm not responsible, I am responsible, and that we would do everything we can to bring this to resolution. That was an extraordinary experience. And when you measure a leader, it's in times of the worst crisis that is so distinctive. And during that time, Mario, you acted with great distinction, and it's been my honor to have been associated with you then. That's the first story. It's an extraordinary story about his compassion and his leadership and his resolve. The other one was in the middle of about 4 or 5 years ago, I think it was that long, Jim, you'll remember me, when we started Tapestry. And we were looking for somebody who had this well-rounded experience to come from somewhere, and set up this brand new overreaching program. And out of this nonprofit, extraordinary organization came Mario Tonti into government, into inside of that which he'd been working in association with. And candidly, without you during that first term, we wouldn't be where we're at today. It has been an extraordinary success. And I remember those early days and you wondering, how in the world does government really work? And Jim says he still does. And Mario, so do I. You have demonstrated the greatest qualities in a leader for those of us in positions like Jim and Deb to emulate. Jim says he loves you, I love you, and I know every person in this room loves you. You have given me the greatest experience for your friendship and your professional being in your leadership. Thank you, Mark.
Beech Brook's former clinical director, current director of research, and associate professor of public health at Kent State University.
I have the unusual pleasure of knowing Mario for over 30 years. And I first met Mario when I was a 21-year-old graduate student at Case Western Reserve University. And probably the two best professors I had, and it's a toss-up, were between Mario Tonti and the other Tonti, Roberta. Mario taught me group therapy and Roberta family therapy. Roberta was also my advisor. And in group and family therapy, there was a real focus on process. It wasn't just content, but it was understanding process, underlying dynamics and process. And back then in social work education did a good job. They taught you about assessment and intake and engagement. And then, before you know it, they were teaching you about discharge planning. And as students, we sort of said, what's the part in the middle where people change and get better? Well, that's what Mario and that's what Roberta really taught. And that's one of the reasons they were so favored as professors. Well, about 13 years later, I had the privilege of seeing Mario, being hired by him and seeing him as an agency director. And all the theory and all the research and his focus on the importance of not just content, but good process. I saw it operationalized. Beech, Brook, Cleveland, the community we worked in, Cuyahoga County, it was a family. And yes, content was important, but at the end of the day, it was more important to have the right process. You needed to have the right structures. You needed to have a very strong, clear mission where everybody was focused. You needed to hire the best people. And there was a huge focus on things like relationships and attachments. That it was not only critical for the children and families you work with, but it was critical with your staff, it was critical with your partners, and the community, it was critical with your customers. Along with that was best practices. Mario always valued research. And this is an agency that's been extremely data-driven. It's very focused on best practice. People look at data. They look at process data, they look at outcome data, and it's very much a part of the decision-making process in the strategic plan. So what I saw was I saw my professor, a family therapist, actually one of the pioneers, who brought family therapy here to Cleveland. I got to experience him as a director, as a leader in an agency. And the theory that he taught me, I actually saw in reality. A family therapist using all those kinds of process types of things and building strong process and watching the results that it had and the outcomes that it was able to achieve. There's an old saying, treasure the journey, enjoy the destination. Many people have taught me how to enjoy the destination. Far fewer have taught me how to treasure and to respect the journey. And Mario, what a journey it's been. You've touched so many lives in such an incredible way. A heartfelt thanks from me, and really I think from many people in this room, for including us along that amazing journey. Thank you, Mario.